Hi, I'm Rokk. Welcome to my channel. And just so you know, I have to balance this very carefully so I don't drop the computer. Today I want to talk about some things. One of them is, I've been really trying to make peace with my neighborhood and the chaos and the gang activity and the drug dealing and all that stuff, and I try to see them as just people that are trying to survive and have a social life and make money and enjoy the kind of art forms that they appreciate that goes with their culture. And what ends up happening is there's more and more blatant disrespect for the families that live in my neighborhood. The noise level has gotten so bad that a policeman once again visited my building and is trying to barricade all these ways that people cut through and hide drugs and all kinds of things. And by drugs, I do not mean marijuana. So the latest thing that happened now, one of the things that happened is there was two girls that got into a screaming match right underneath my mother's bedroom window. And I mean, they were yelling and screaming, and this was like 3:45 in the morning. And my mother, even though it's like my mom falls asleep a lot during the daytime, and she sleeps unpredictably, and then she can have insomnia, and she could be awake in the wee hours watching TV and stuff, and there's always good TV when you got cable, especially if you like the Cowboys and stuff. And my mom and she's always turning me on to really good old TV and stuff. Even the shows on TLC, those reality shows, she got me hooked on. So these chicks were going at it, and they're getting loud, and I screamed at them a couple of times. Well, first I tried reasoning with them, then I tried screaming at them, then I threatened to sick my mother on them, and I hinted that my mother is not afraid of picking up the phone. And anybody in the hood knows that when you say pick up the phone, that is definitely talking about calling the cops. I don't want to say it to be blatant because, like I said, there's all those dealers out front and stuff, and I don't know that they had anything to do with the girls fighting, but apparently some strange man who I didn't recognize as one of the local guys in the neighborhood, he's about a little over 6 foot probably, and he puts his hand near my face and he tries to tell me to shush. And I'm like, excuse me, I live here. You don't. Me and my family have a right to be able to sleep. My mother is old, she is not in good health, and she has a real nasty temper if she can't get her rest. I am not going to let anybody who does not live here jeopardize the health and the happiness of my mother, especially at her age. I'm not going to do it. I've had it. I fucking had it. I really try to live and let live. I try to act like I like the music, smile, sometimes I'll play the passive-aggressive route, and I'll slam the door real hard as I'm leaving the house. And the thing is, I spend a lot of time hanging out on that, not on the corner necessarily, but around there because I'm hunting for roaches. Occasionally I see somebody that I like, and I like to share information and stuff. And there are some acquaintances that I've made in the hood, but I'm getting far less free weed from the usual suspects, and even some of the people who live around here are starting to give me lectures about how dangerous it is to pick up unidentified stuff. But if you think it's dropped by somebody who's a dealer who's smoking from his personal stash, and the guys that are selling the good weed that smoke the blunts, they don't put anything in that weed. They smoke it, and it's good stuff as long as you could take all the tobacco off of it. So, that's, if I wanted to sleep tonight, I couldn't. And meanwhile, I had to be up for noon for up for the daybreak to do the roach thing. And now have my shopping cart, or rather laundry cart, waiting in line to get groceries. And even though the thing doesn't open up till 11 o'clock, and there's a sign saying, don't line up ahead of time and leave your carts or boxes or whatever unattended, people do it anyway. And I was number 5 in line, and there was one person there, so I knew it would be safe to go back and forth to the bathroom and do things. And I decided, you know what, I gotta bring my computer out. I'm gonna make a video. And if I do it early enough before a bunch of people get noisy, I just had to wait for the trash man to leave, because he was doing a pickup here in this alley. So another thing that I have on my mind is what's happening in Israel. And I have some friends who are sympathetic to the Palestinian side. And I've been having some heartfelt discussions with them, asking them how they can excuse this behavior in light of the things that are happening. I mean, I never thought that I would experience something in my life that would dwarf or in any way be greater than 9/11. And 9/11 traumatized me extremely. And again, I wasn't anywhere near when it happened and it freaked me out. And here I am. I don't have a dog in the hunt except for my love of Israel and the Jewish people. And seeing these things happen, I am being traumatized. And I'm not seeking out the stuff on social media that's showing the explicit things about the terrorism stuff. I'm just watching what I see on the news. And matter of fact, I didn't have the news on for a while. I had TLC on watching those romance shows, And finally I said, let me I put David Muir on. My mom kind of turned me on to him. But whenever I tried, at least one thing I could say for my mother, even though she's a Democrat and she pretty much excuses everything that our president does, she does support Israel and she identifies as some sort of a Christian, and she can't imagine how any Christian could not back Israel in this. But so many of the people I'm talking to are apologists, and they say they try to recount 5,400 and whatever houses supposedly Israel tore down. And it's like, and even if they did, nothing they have ever done 100 times, 1,000 times can justify the disgusting things that are happening. I cannot sit idly by and excuse people apologizing for it. You know that there are demonstrations all over the world and all over America where people are backing not just the Palestinian people, but Hamas itself. How can you back people that do those terrible things? I don't want to reiterate the terrible things that are happening. You see the news too. I don't want to even speak those words. I don't want to speak what I don't want to attract. So, but this is really traumatizing, and I can only imagine how traumatizing it must be for the Jewish people. I read an article on MSN.com about how some people are starting to encourage their children, take them completely off social media, take their cell phones away so they don't inadvertently see these images. If I'm being traumatized by even hearing about the terrible things that are being done, I mean, did you hear about that electronic music festival? And they kidnapped over 200 people, and they showed footage of it. I mean, I love electronic music. I love Israel. I could see going there if I were not afraid to fly and go and checking out something like that. And I can't imagine. It's something that nobody would have an expectation of not being safe. It's an open air thing. My biggest fear would be getting sunburned. And to see them take that boyfriend and girlfriend, and they kidnapped them both and separated them, and they took them away on these like motorbikes or something. And oh my God, how could you see these things and not be moved to tears? I don't understand it. It's just like when you watch the Weather Channel and you hear about a tornado, and these people, their houses blow away, and they lost all their possessions, and their dog died, and they lost the ones they love, and this one got killed, and that one got killed. How can you not be moved? And then doesn't it make you want to do something? Doesn't it make you want to build underground and do things so that people aren't going to be in positions where they're going to be killed and have all their life's work and what they built be destroyed? So now when it comes to terrorist attacks, don't you think that the people have a reasonable expectation to not expect your home to be invaded, or say you hear an air raid siren and you go into your safe room and it gets breached and whole families got massacred in the place they thought was safe? Little kids, families. This is happening. And there are so many people making excuses for this. And most of these people probably have kids of their own. They have parents. They have loved ones. Can't you put yourself in somebody else's spot? Can't you imagine what it's like to suffer like your brothers and sisters are suffering? And when you see what's going on now, this makes me not sympathetic to whatever Israel may have done in the course of its defending itself. I frankly do not care about the sufferings of the Palestinian people. I don't, because the way first of all, they have been brainwashed into an ideology and a religion that teaches all kinds of lies about Jews, teaches all kinds of lies about America, teaches lies about Christians, teaches lies about pagans and all other religions. They belong to a religion that seems to be the only one that you cannot criticize. Isn't it funny? You can criticize in the most rude ways the Catholic Church, and you've heard about the art that was done that was very defaming, that really deeply hurts the devout believers. I am really not a fan of desecrating sacred cows as a rule, except when to maybe try to confront people for the silliness and illogicalness of their beliefs. And let's face it, most religions teach some pretty crazy stuff. At least the metaphysical stuff that I do, where the gods and goddesses that I invoke and work with, I don't kid myself that they're real. I use them as aspects of my subconscious, and I use them just as a tool. I don't believe in them. If I have a statue of an elephant dressed in really beautiful things with a little pet mouse and a trident and all that stuff, I don't really believe that there is an elephant that you can have a conversation with and can help you do things. However, I can, how do I put this in a way that a non-magical person would understand? I could assume the role, and I can act as if, and I could, it's kind of like playing cards, and you have a deck, you have a suit of cards. Let's say you dealt a hand, and you, different hands have value depending on the denominations of the cards. Metaphysical things seem to work under the principle of similarities and things that stand for other things and things that are symbolic for other things. Now, some people may get so hardcore into it that they actually think it's a real thing that's happening, such as I think the Catholic Church has this theory called transmutation, where when they are doing the what they call the Holy Eucharist, the Holy Communion thing, they're using, I know I did, yeah, people always talk when I'm filming. Now, where was I going? See, people distract me. They really believe that the bread and the wine is the body and blood of Jesus Christ. And even though it's actually baked bread and it's actually wine created by grapes that somebody grew, the priest consecrates it, and it's... I'm going to give it another comparison, and I hope I'm not offending people, but I do have experience with drugs, and there was a time when I used to do speed, and I like to work with crystals and herbs and all kinds of things. And did you know that you can take baking soda and you can use quartz crystals and you can concentrate and you can turn plain old harmless baking soda into anything, and you can give it to somebody and you could say that it's whatever they think it is, and they can do it and they can feel the high, and yet it's perfectly harmless. They won't test it if they get drug tested. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do snorting of baking soda, but I've done it, you know, and even when you know that it's not really speed, and I did it to myself. I turned baking soda into speed and I snorted it, and it was just baking soda, but I felt that it was high. It was, maybe that was also the placebo effect, which actually seems to work. You notice there's a percentage of people that if you give them sugar pills, they still seem to get positive effects as if they'd taken real medicine. So when they do these double-blind studies, they always give a placebo and the real thing, and you don't know what you're getting, and everything is... it's issued a number instead of your name so that it's totally anonymous. And I know because I participated in some of these studies. I actually participated in a DNA study about people who had past drug use, and I guess it goes on to see if it has any ramifications for how they end up later in life. I don't know if it's if they end up with mental problems or if they end up with cancers or if they end up with other behavioral problems, or I don't know. But anyway, I got paid a $10 gift card to literally contribute to science. And since I've often thought about how cool it would be to get some studies out of the body that I have certainly guinea pigged an awful lot with, because, and I'm not saying the guinea pigging wasn't fun, because it was, But yeah, so anyway, that's my take on metaphysics and religions, and I'm sorry, some of these religions seem to be absolutely cuckoo. And if you believe in them, I have to respect that. I can't say it's your choice, because when we are culturally indoctrinated in these things, it's like a brainwashing, and I don't feel that we really have a choice, honestly. I don't feel that we have a choice, because if we really, when you're raised with something, and people, not only just your whole family, but basically most of your society talks about something as if it's assumed to be a fact, it doesn't occur to you that there may be other beliefs, or maybe the whole belief in anything not of this world and of the five senses that we know is real. I know how scary the process was for me to entertain my first skepticism, when it was totally what the Catholic Church would have considered heresy. I was a 9-year-old little girl, and I was thinking about these things that don't make sense, and I seen all these hypocrites and all this stuff. And it was just really messing with my mind, and I remember being so afraid that God was going to strike me down with a lightning bolt if I said the F word. And meanwhile, I saw classmates who were saying it and getting away with it. Oh, now this guy's going to want to move his truck, and I got paper in the way. Okay, set these things here. I just know that these people are going to start interrupting me, and it's like, I don't understand why people think it's okay to talk to somebody. When you see that somebody's talking in front of a screen, you are interrupting them. And it's like, if I am too stupid to see paper that I found that's right in front of me, I'm not that blind. Anyway, yeah, this situation with the people that are not sympathetic to Israel is really bothering me. And so that is why I wore my Trump hat today. Yes, there's lots of reasons for wearing a Trump hat. Most of it, 99% of it, is because I love the guy. But you know what? Some of it is because if Trump was president right now, there's no way Israel would have been invaded by Hamas. If Trump was president right now, there's no way Russia would have invaded Ukraine. The world is a much more dangerous place because of the kind of people that we have in charge right now. It is not safe. And my heart breaks for people all over that feel they have to hide who they are because of this terrorism shit. Transgender people, gays and lesbians and bisexual people and gender non-conforming people who don't look totally like they can fit in. A lot of people are complaining about how they don't feel safe, even though arguably, at least America is the safest place for them to be. Imagine how the Jewish people feel. I mean, I can imagine if I had to make my occultism more secret, and sometimes I don't parade it around. There are people that still want to kill witches. There's lots of people that want to kill the Jews, want to eradicate them from this earth, and anybody that's going to stand idly by and either not do anything to stop it, or try to prevent Israel from defending themselves, or judge them for defending themselves, you don't blame the victim. Anybody that's been a victim of any kind of domestic violence or any kind of violence at all, you don't blame the victim. And everybody said, oh, pray for Israel, pray. Save your prayers, send money. If you are strong and you can fight, go help them. Do something. Thinking happy thoughts is not going to help Israel defend themselves. And I just hope that they get her done. There's so much I want to say, but I can't say. But you know what? Israel, I love you. I love your people. You have a right to kick ass. Kick those sons of bitches. Anybody that wants to eradicate you, no. You have a right to defend yourself. Anybody that doesn't accept that, no friend of mine. Okay, you guys, I will talk to you later. I don't know when, soon. Take care. Bye.